YouTube, Jeff's World 101 back for a fun little video for you guys today. I'm going to do a little scenario. I don't have any special videos, any special clips or nothing. I'm just going to go shooting from the hip. You got to roll with the brain, kind of like reading a book. Let's say my favorite pitch, or the best pitcher, not my favorite, but the best pitcher in the league right now is obviously Jake Arrieta. Okay? Obviously. Let's say he never leaves the Orioles for the Cubs. He never goes to the Cubs. He stays with the Orioles. Let's just say that. And let's say in 2015, Giovanni Gallardo signs with the Orioles instead of going to the Rangers. So that never happens in essence either. They do get Cole Hamels, the Rangers do still, but you know they never get Giovanni Gallardo. So doesn't really matter because Yu Darvish never gets hurt. So let's see what the 2015. You know what? We're going to bypass 2015, okay? And we're going to go straight on to 2016, okay? Everything happens the same in 2015. Royals win a World Series, beat the Mets and sit in 5 games. But now, Royals are kind of done with their reign of terror, in my opinion. My Astros, not having the best season. They're obviously not going to make the playoffs, okay? So that leaves one team to be the powerhouse, and it is 2016. So this is going to be for an interesting topic. So, as we know, with Jake Arrieta and Giovanni Gallardo on the Orioles, which, like I said, 2015 never happens. So, you know, or 2015 happens, but we're not doing 2015. So, as you know, the Orioles signed Giovanni Gallardo, Mark Trumbo, bringing Pedro Alvarez, end up becoming the powerhouse offense of the league. So that's the Baltimore Orioles. They're going to run away with the division, you guys. They're just going to smoke everybody in the American League East. They're going to win 104 games. There goes the Orioles, okay? Which means since the Cubs don't have Jake Arrieta, the Cubs don't become the perennial powerhouse that they become. They never make the playoffs, okay? We'll get to the National League in just a minute. In my opinion, I think the Indians will win the division this year. So there's your second playoff team. The third playoff team, as much as this really kills me to say, okay, this is very painful. This is a very painful thing for me to say. My Astros, like I said, are obviously not going anywhere this year. Rangers are going to run away with that division. There's your third playoff team. Okay, so there you go. And then, okay, the Royals, like I said, are going to follow in their tail. They're just not going to compete anymore. You know, they end up finishing third or fourth. They finished fourth to the White Sox. It's really weird. But yeah, so they don't even make the playoffs, you guys. They don't. No. The fourth team, of course, ends up being the wild card teams. So, in essence, the Tigers end up winning the wild card. They lose their division by half a game over the Indians. The second wild card team will end up being the Seattle Mariners. You know, being that the okay pitching that they got, you know, Felix Hernandez ends up coming back on the DL stronger than ever. So so there's your wild card matchup. Okay, the Tigers versus the Mariners. This is just a fantasy thing, so nobody discriminate. This is I doubt it's going to happen this way, obviously, because Jake Arrieta is a Cub. It's just a fantasy thing. Like I said, Jake Arrieta never leaves the Orioles. So remember that, okay? Which means makes the Orioles just a perennial powerhouse. Okay, so these are your 5 playoff teams: the Orioles, Indians, Rangers, Tigers, and Mariners in the American League. Okay, put these aside. Bam, there's your American League. Now, the National League. Okay, obviously it's an even year. Giants run away with that division like nothing. There's your first playoff team. Wham, bam, boom, ba, bada, bing, bada, boom. All said and done. Okay? The Cubs never get Jake Arrieta, so they don't even compete at all, which means the Cardinals win that division, of course. The Pirates, I got to do the other team. Okay? The Mets can't really, it's not the fact that they can't compete, but they just, with Steven Strasburg coming back healthy, Mets end up, losing their division to the Nationals. Let's just say this, okay? This is just for fun. So Nick Kumo, please do not hate me for this. Nationals win that division. First wild card team is the Mets. Second wild card team is the Pirates. Okay? So, the Pirates versus the Mets. National League wild card game. We're going to start with them. Pirates versus Mets. Okay? Pirates and Mets. Alright. National League wild card game. Well, you know, the Pirates being the young talent they are, unfortunately, destiny is not on their side even in this little fantasy thing. You know, they still lose in the wild card game, still can't get to the first round of the playoffs. They still lose. Mets move on. Okay, so the first round ends up being the Cardinals versus the Mets, all right? And you got the Giants versus the Nationals. Even year. So obviously, Nationals get swept right there, okay? Cardinals just aren't what they used to be, okay? They're a far step away from 2013. They don't ever compete. They get swept, too, by the Mets. So you're looking at your National League Championship Series. The Mets versus the Giants. Nick Kumo versus Trey Cahill. Okay? So, Cardinals and Nationals are both out. As well as the Pirates. Alright? Well, this just becomes an absolute duke out. But at the end, sorry Nick Kumo, it's an even year. Sorry for your Mets. Giants end up going, of course, to the World Series with ease. On another walk-off home run this time, but this time by Brandon Belt. Hits a walk-off home run off of Jurius Familia. Obviously, to send the Giants to the World Series in 7 games. They will go in 7. Okay, in this fantasy. They go in 7. Okay? So that, unfortunately for you, the Mets are out. So now we get to the American League, okay? Which your wild card game is the Tigers versus the Mariners. Obviously, the Tigers have a few hicks in their staff. Justin Verlander's washed up. Their pitching does not compete with the Mariners. Mariners end up winning that wild card game 5-1. So Mariners move on. They play the Orioles in the first round, okay? Then you look at the Indians and the Rangers. You know, okay, the better team is obvious on this, and I can't believe I'm doing this, but the Rangers move on. I mean, it's obviously a better team. Like I said, Jake Arrieta never leaves the Orioles, so Mariners don't stand a chance. Bada bing, bada bang. You're looking at a American League Championship Series, Rangers versus Orioles. Like I said, Orioles perennial powerhouse with their star pitching and their just their bashing offense. Rangers, see ya. So, in essence, here is your World Series. The Giants versus the Orioles. Do the Giants make it 4 out of the last 6 years? Okay, guys, this is where it gets fun, okay? You got Jake Arrieta, Madison Bumgarner, game 1, okay? It ends up being a pretty well good fight. You know, Giants take an early lead, 2-0. Okay, Madison Bumgarner looking unhittable. Then they get to the 5th inning. Chris Davis comes up, runners on 1st and 3rd, bam, 3-2 Orioles, home run, okay? Well, let's just say we get to the 9th, it's still 3-2. Giants have the bases loaded with Brandon Belt up in the bottom of the 9th. Okay, they're home team. All right, in the bottom of the 9th. Bam! Walk-off grand slam. Giants win game 1. Jake Arrieta just was not great in game 1. So, Giants up 1-0. You're probably wondering, what happens next? Well, you're about to find out, to be honest. Okay, so game 2. Pitch Giovanni Gallardo against Johnny Cueto. For some reason in this game, okay, It ends up going 0-0 in the 7th inning. Just an all-out pitcher's duel. Okay, so Orioles, up in the top. Manny Machado with a triple. Okay, down the line. Chris Davis comes up, drives him in on an RBI single. 1-0 Orioles, top of the 8th. Okay, Giants just can't handle it. They just get shut out. Okay, Giovanni Gallardo goes the distance. Complete game. Orioles win game 2. Series is tied 1-1 now. Okay, game 3. Chris Tillman versus Jeff Samardzija. That's a matchup that I'm not really looking forward to seeing. Well, Jeff Samardzija, being as terrible and overrated as of a pitcher he is, just absolutely gets pummeled in game 3. Okay, Orioles tag him for 5 home runs. Chris Davis with 2. Manny Machado, Pedro Alvarez, and Mark Trumbo all contribute with their own. Man, ends up being an 11-1 blowout in game 3. Orioles now up 2-1. This is where the fun part comes in. So, game 4. You got pitch Ubaldo Jimenez. Ubaldo Jimenez. Up against who? Jake Peavy. Well, Jake Peavy, Ubaldo Jimenez just, as terrible as he's been since he's left Colorado, ends up going only 2 innings. He gets this, let's say he takes a line drive off his elbow. Okay, bam. Line drive off his elbow. Giants end up winning game 4, 5-4. Series is now tied at 2. Well, you don't use 5 starters in the World Series. You at most use 4. So, bam. Back to the game 1 starters. Jake Arrieta versus Madison Bumgarner. Jake Arrieta is really upset, frustrated that he lost game 1. Just goes out there and just dominates. Absolutely dominates. Orioles win it 8-0. Go up 3-2 over the Giants. Game 2. Giovanni Gallardo just cannot repeat his performance. And Johnny Cueto throws a shutout. Giants win it 2-0. Game 7, here we come. This is where it gets really interesting, you guys. Jeff Samardzija versus Chris Tillman. Okay, well, this is where both Madison Bumgarner and Jake Arrieta will be available in relief. What can I say? Okay, well, Giants never make it that far. Okay, nothing tie going into the 8th inning. Bam, crack. 2-run home run, Hunter Pence. Giants all of a sudden up 2-0 in the bottom of the 8th. Well, you go into the top of the 9th. Giants all confident, thinking, yes, here we go. 4 World Series in 6 years. All of a sudden, the bases are loaded. What to do now? With the ever-dangerous Mark Trumbo coming up. Crack, boom, bam, 4-3. Or 4-2, sorry. 4-2 Orioles. Well, guess what? Jake Arrieta comes in for the 9th. And as of course, like I said, that dominant powerhouse, 7 games. Giants reign, unfortunately, of the National League. No more. Orioles easily win the 2016 World Series championship if Jake Arrieta stayed with the Orioles. As we know, that will never happen. Because it didn't happen. So stay fly, YouTube. I thought that'd be pretty interesting. Just for 101 out. See you guys later.